Welcome back to Drinking with Craig and Roger.
I'm Roger.
I am Craig. Today, we're going to go over what Whiskey Advocate unanimously decided in a panel voting to be the #1 new whiskey of 2018. So your #1 whiskey for 2019, shockingly, George Dickel, 13-year bottled in bond Tennessee whiskey. You can see it falls right in line with most of their stuff. This was a big surprise. A lot of people don't give the Dickel very much respect, but I know you're a man who has long loved George Dickel.
Yes, I've been to the distillery twice.
Oh.
It is small enough that it could qualify as a large craft distillery.
Okay, interesting, because they pump out a lot of product.
Not as much as you might think.
Okay, because I really haven't tried much Dickel before. I know a common thing I keep seeing is people talk about the Flintstones vitamins taste. Have you ever gotten that before?
Well,
is that accurate?
The thing with George Dickel that makes it different from Jack Daniels is that George Dickel, they filter the whiskey through a new wool blanket before it goes into the charcoal that is used to filter out the oils and before they put it in the barrel. So there's a blanket there, and they won't say it, but I think that the taste of that wool gets into the whiskey.
This is a shocking revelation.
Well, I mean, you know, it goes to whatever, but at any rate, they do that. And if you get a chance to go to the distillery, please do. You know, we were there like 4 or 5 years apart, and the same woman that was doing the tours was there the second time. Usually there's a much bigger turnover, which says something about the working atmosphere and the loyalty that the employees have for this. So, yeah.
Maybe that goes back to what you were talking about with being a smaller craft type distillery. Maybe it's more friendly than the more corporate, larger distilleries.
Yeah, Jack Daniels has got to be 5 times the size of George Dickel. You know,
I would think so.
Yeah. So
now they do note their filtering is through a sugar maple charcoal. So that's kind of interesting.
Well, I don't think that's so remarkable. I mean, I think Jack Daniels doesn't do it sugar maple charcoal.
Sugar maple, so that's a standard thing.
I think so.
Okay, all right.
It's sort of like, you know, a lot of places that say we're the best, or they say what they do, and it's the same thing everybody does. You know.
Now, I have been working on this bottle for a little bit. I've found it to be, incredibly widely varying depending on what you've had to eat or drink before it and around it.
Yes, that is the sad state of our, the way we're put together is that whatever's been going on before, it affects the way you approach stuff.
Now, and I detect in the nose and the flavor a huge amount of barrel. You definitely catch the 13 years that it's spent in there. Oh
yeah, and of course it's a charcoal barrel.
Right.
Yeah, all the Tennessee whiskeys would qualify as bourbons.
Right. And what is interesting, okay, so this is #1 because of the value, basically, the quality and the value that it comes in. So this retails right around $35, $36 in most places. It might be, really take 10. So what is interesting to me, I don't know where that thought was going. Senioritis.
Interesting. It's how nice it is, and how
I remember where I was getting with that.
Yeah.
So they were noting that it is probably only this cheap because it is called Tennessee whiskey, where bourbons will go for 3 to 4 easily, 3 to 4 times more, especially at that age. So it makes me wonder, why would you call yourself Tennessee whiskey if you're degrading the value of your product just by name alone?
Because you're proud that you're in Tennessee, and that you're using a slightly different method than the typical bourbon. That's why you would do this.
So what do you think?
It's great.
You're loving it.
It is great.
What are you picking up?
First First of all, it is very smooth. Very smooth for, you know, a bourbon style whiskey, which has been done with Tennessee standards. It's very, very smooth. It's not too powerful to the taste. You're not assaulted by a lot of alcohol, even though it's 100 proof. Is it not?
It is.
They didn't dilute it.
Oh, it's 100 proof.
Okay, good.
It's robust.
It's robust, and it's a sort of a nutty taste to it. Nut, I think.
It does.
At the end. Yeah.
Yep. Nutty. Definitely barely. Hot. You know, it's got some real punch to it.
Oh yeah.
You know you're drinking something.
But I'm going to tell you,
It's a full flavor.
if you get the standard yellow, rather, what is it? White label Dickel, it's going to taste very much like this. Very much. This is the George Dickel taste.
Is this like would you say this is their white label on steroids?
I wouldn't say steroids, but let's just say that it's a more refined version of it, which is different, you know, than the Jack Daniel's, which is very clean and simple in its taste to compared to the Dickel. The Dickel's got a lot of other kinds of stuff in it besides the pure corn taste in it, and the charred oak barrel taste. That's very, very nice.
Now, attempt to take away the name and everything I've told you about the reception of this. What would you expect, just on taste and smell alone, what would you expect to pay for this, if you had to guess? I know it's hard to be impartial.
I don't know. I mean, as I'm tasting this more and more, it begins to taste more and more like George Dickel. You know. Surprise, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's George Dickel. At a 13 for American whiskey, I think it's priced right. I think somewhere between $30 and $40 would be a good, honest price to charge. I'll bet their price goes up now that they've gotten a nice reward from their whiskey advocate. You know.
So maybe Whiskey Advocate they had to be blind to decide they actually really like the taste of George Dickel.
I hope not. I mean, it's been around for a long time. It's been pretty well respected in its tiny little circle, and it's very nice whiskey. It's complex, and even at 12, or even at 8, which is their little black label, it's a fine drink, and you know, it just depends on, you know, how much you want to spend and what you value the most. You know, as I said, you know, we've tasted some other whiskeys like 21-year-old, and they're nicer than most of them at 12, but they're not 12 times nicer. You know, I mean,
well, now, and I must note, in the documentary Neat, which is all about bourbon, you know, they were talking about how the difference in aging in the U.S., specifically in the South, versus in Scotland, how, let's say, a 13-year-old barrel in Tennessee, because of the high highs in the temperature and the low lows in the winter, the barrel contracts and expands, sucks the liquid in and back out, and really imparts the kind of aging in the whiskey that you might expect in something much longer in Scotland, which has terrible weather, but uniformly terrible, right?
Well, sort of, yeah. But on the other hand, you know, it also depends on where it is in the aging facility.
Right. Yeah, they have their honey barrels.
Oh, they have the spots that just go, you know, and age much more nicely, much more quickly.
Yeah.
They're usually 3 to 4 stories high, you know, for these, you know, things. And, you know, you can put the same whiskey there on the bottom level, and it's going to age much differently than the ones at the top level. And so, you know, you will find lots of American whiskeys, at least, even George Dickel. Well, maybe not George. It doesn't have warehouses that are really tall. But some of the bourbon distillers, I mean, if they got 4 stories,
Mm.
wow! Up in the 4th story, it's a lot hotter up there because in the summer
Yeah.
the heat goes up and boom,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the winter, you know, it's colder up there because and so it varies a lot, and they're able to produce whiskeys with different characters from the same distillation process. Because most of them are continuous, and so it's not a matter of choosing, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, all I can say is,
Yeah.
going back to George Dickel,
Yep.
it's my favorite. If I had to pick only one
Wow.
Tennessee whiskey, it would be George Dickel.
Okay.
And there's also
That's fair.
Pritchard's, which is kind of fun, and a couple of other craft ones.
Now, have you tried the George Dickel Tabasco barrel aged? I think that was kind
No,
of.
and I
think
don't-
that seems to be a low point for the distillery.
well, you know, you're trying something, but you know, I don't think you really want to add that kind of hot spiciness to a
I
whiskey.
hate
That's,
Tabasco
you know,
sauce. It's a terrible flavor.
It's only good on certain kinds of things,
Yeah.
like you want to put it on your omelet.
Maybe even then, just don't care for it. So anyway, this is gaining much respect from the whiskey elite, and it's good. What do you think?
It's
Your
great.
summary. Your
Oh,
experience.
it's fine.
So definitely pick
And
up a bottle.
thank you for the bottle you gave me for Christmas. I
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
You're
Hey,
welcome.
There we go.
So definitely pick up a bottle. Just don't go insane like me and pick up 6 bottles without trying it first, just because it's an incredible value.
Well, I don't think you went wrong there.
I'm down to 3 now. Makes a good gift.
Okay. Well, it makes it even better drink.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Cheers.